Hey, do you want to run KVM as your virtualization platform? Cool. This video goes over how to install it real quick. I am at a Debian client computer right now. It's using the GNOME desktop, so it's a pretty basic computer. This is actually a virtual machine that I'm working on, but I'm going to show you how to install and utilize KVM. All right, so let's open up a terminal. And by the way, KVM is meant to run on Linux, though you can work around it and run it on other platforms. It's designed for Linux. So let's do it. I'm in a terminal here, and I'm going to log in as root. And once in as root, we need to do some installations. First, let's make sure we can ping the internet. There's the internet. It's got replies from the internet. Nice. Best thing to do first is really to do an apt update and see if there's anything that can be updated. We've got 65 packages that can be upgraded, so we should do that. So I'm going to do an apt upgrade and say yes for all this. Get the latest stuff, and I'm going to fast forward till it's done. Okay, so that has upgraded. It's always a good idea to do an apt update and apt upgrade if you're working on a client system. If it's a server system, then that's kind of a different story. But with the client, especially with Debian, because everything they release is well tested, it's a good idea to do that first. All right, let's check out the version now. If we do a cat on etc Debian_version, we'd see there's no such file because I didn't put in the last slash there. There we go. We're at 10.7. That's good. That's the latest version of Buster of version 10 as of the recording of this video, and we're in December of 2020. All right, so let's go ahead with it. Let's do the KVM install. Maximize this, clear the screen. And to do it, you want to be connected as root, logged in as root. So we're going to do an apt install, and here's the programs: kimo-kvm, also libvirt-clients, plural, and libvirt-daemon-system. Okay, so we're going to install those three: kimo-kvm, libvirt-clients, and libvirt-daemon-system, and press enter. We could do a -y also, so it'll just say yes to those automatically. And I'll fast forward till that's done. Now, the service name is called libvirt-d, and we can check that and see if it's running with the systemctl space status space libvirt-d. And you can see that my computer space is running low. Disk space is running low because I just downloaded all this stuff, and I downloaded an ISO image, so this virtual machine is getting low. Anyways, systemctl status libvirt-d. Let's take a look. It is active and running. We're good to go. So it installs it, and then it runs it automatically. Another program you're probably going to want to use is the Virtual Machine Manager. The built-in program for KVM is virsh, and I use that a lot. That's the virtual shell. And if you press enter, you'll see we can get into the virtual shell and do all kinds of commands. You can create virtual machines, create virtual networks, and so on. But to start with KVM, it's probably a good idea for you to use the Virtual Machine Manager. So we can install that, and we'll do an apt install virt-manager. Say yes to that, and more installs. All done. So that's installed now. And we can actually run the program at this point, but there's a couple of tweaks you might want to do. When you're working with KVM, it creates a virtual network for you by default, and it happens to be called default. And a good command to run is virsh space net-autostart on that default network. Because by default, the default network will not start up every time you start the computer. So you want to auto start it. So press enter for that. And it says the network named default is now marked as auto started. You also want to add a user to your libvirt group. Whoever your regular user is, you want to add that in. And for me, that's just a user on this test computer. But whatever that username is, replace user with that username. And so you do an add user, username, libvirt. And that is now added. And your virtual machines, when you create them, will be stored in /var/lib/libvirt/images. And the actual virtual networks are stored in /etc/libvirt/kimu/networks. And if you look inside there, you'll see default.xml. That's the XML file for your default virtual network that is created for you automatically, which you could use exclusively if you wanted to, but you can create other networks if you'd like as well. Definitely check out the versh command, but for easier use, especially when you're getting started, you probably want to get into the virtual machine manager. And that will normally show up in your programs. Here it is. Or you could run it by typing virt-manager. Now that's not going to work as root. So I'm going to exit out of root and run that again as my user account. There we go. That's it.